Hello and welcome to Keyworker Conversations. This is video 5 in our series of 8 Keyworker training videos created by Dalesview Partnership. Here you will learn about the record keeping and sharing of information that a keyworker needs to do, including discussing daily records, hospital passports, care plan protocols, and also any creative ideas around supporting your key client. Hi Lisa, thank you for joining me today. You and I are going to be talking about the record keeping and sharing information section of the Keyworker checklist, and just to get a bit more information on what this means. So please could you explain to me, what does high standard of daily records mean?
So the daily records are vital pieces of information that let people know what's happened in that person's life that day. They're also a legal document, so they need to be completed in black pen, not blue, and they need to be full and complete. Our daily records have questions on them, so they're quite easy to fill in, but it's the detail that needs to be in and around something personal to that person of what they've done that day.
Brilliant, thank you. Thanks, Lisa. Lisa, moving on to the hospital passport section of the Keyworker checklist, how will a key worker know if there are updates required to a hospital passport?
So within each service, we have a handover every day, we have team meetings, the daily records would record if there've been any changes to a person's health, any changes to medication, so that information is shared with all of the team.
Okay, so if somebody comes on shift and they've maybe been on annual leave or they've had a few days off because of their shift patterns, what are they required to do to ensure they know about the updates?
So they need to read the communication book, have the handover and speak to the other members of staff to find if there's been any changes with anybody.
Brilliant, thank you. Thanks, Lisa. Moving on to care plan and care plan protocols, what sort of symptoms or behaviour would cause a key worker to have concerns about a service user's health?
Right, so this can vary quite a lot. There can be something very obvious, so if somebody's got a chest infection, they're coughing a lot, they've got a temperature, they seem unwell. But often with our clients, it's much more subtle when people are unwell, and the key worker who knows that person very well, if they just feel that maybe that person's not quite themselves, they're not sure what it is, it's really important that they let somebody know, because often the staff who know people very well and the key workers will pick up on something before other people can.
Brilliant, thank you. And who should they report it to? If they're really concerned about the service user that they're key worker for, who should they talk to?
So initially they tell a senior straight away. If there was further concerns, they might speak to one of the management team.
Thanks, thank you, Lisa. So moving on to the creative ideas around the daily routines, please can you explain what is meant by a creative idea around supporting daily routines and care, and do you have any examples that you could share with us, please?
Yeah, so everybody's got the protocols for a morning routine. If as a key worker, something's happening in that person's day, so their usual routine, they don't seem happy at one point, a key worker may think, oh, actually I think this person's hungry, maybe they could have their breakfast before they then go on to have a shower and get dressed for the day. Things like that, you know, just changing things around. It needs discussing with the manager and the rest of the team, but quite often key workers can see little changes that really benefit people.
Thank you. Have you got any specific examples that you could share with us from real lives here in Dalesview?
Yeah, I think the example I've given about somebody needing to have breakfast before getting ready for the day, that worked really well for somebody.
Yeah.
They'd get up, have something to eat, and then carry on getting the shower, because when it was happening the other way around, they were becoming quite agitated, and the key worker thought maybe they were hungry, and that was right.
So, hiya Nikki, thank you for joining me today. And we're in one of the tenancies at Dalesview, and you are communication champion for the tenancy, as well as being a key worker for a client here. So I'm interested in a chat with you about how you look at the paperwork side of things, sort of completing paperwork, checking paperwork, and everything around that part of your role as key worker.
Yeah.
And I wondered if you'd like to chat to me about your experiences and what you do. So for example, fill in the daily record sheets, an example of how you do it, and then maybe what you do moving forward.
An example is making sure all the correct information is put on the right daily care sheets. So a lot of the time we can mix and match a little bit, so just double checking that, say when I'm running a shift, is that everyone's filling the paperwork in and it's the correct information, jotting times on there so we can know what time they've had a drink, time they've been changed, been to the toilet, and just making sure that everything's been put on that information sheet ready for the next person to take over the shift.
So has there been examples of when you've looked at the paperwork and thought, oh, I think we could maybe do better as a team here?
Yeah, definitely. As well as with how busy our days are and stuff, and making sure that we get the right information on. I'd say timings, so when times people are going to the toilet, as I mentioned, times of when people have had snacks throughout the day, so we can know, so we're not overfeeding, because that can be massive for some of our girls in our tenancy, is that they love to have snacks and stuff. So just keeping times, I'd say times is very big on our daily care sheets, is knowing what times everyone's had food, drinks and everything.
Yeah.
And changes.
Thank you. Thanks, Nikki. Thinking about your key client, because you're a key worker for a key client in this tenancy, and her paperwork specifically, do you want to chat through anything that you've gone through with her, maybe daily record sheets, maybe, I don't know, behaviour records, and what you've had to do as key worker for her?
Yeah, so I'm a key worker. I would say I'm quite new to being her key worker. I've known her for quite a while, and I'd say me and other staff have noticed behaviours with my key worker, especially around the monthly cycle, which is totally different to this service users daily. I'm trying to think of words.
So what you're saying is, by completing the paperwork and even just observing, you've noticed that day to day she behaves in a certain way, but around the time of the period, maybe she has different behaviours.
Yeah, she's very she's just very different. I suppose you've got to work with them and understand them as it's building up a relationship. And the more I've built a relationship with her and another a previous key worker, we spoke a lot and trying to understand her a lot more, and speaking to her parents and having more of an understanding. And we've sort of all three of us have come together and understood why, and make it better for her every month. So it's not just us we're waiting for it to happen. We can prepare for it to happen, just to give her what she needs for it to be better next month, you know, to try and prevent the behaviours and make her feel comfortable around that time of the month. Yeah.
That's so person-centred and such a supportive approach. And the paperwork is your evidence, isn't it, as well? So that if you were making a referral to health or wanting to get her to the GP, those behaviour records are examples of when the behaviours are occurring. So you can go to a health professional. It's evidence based.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Brilliant. The more evidence, the better.
Yeah. And encouraging other staff to complete the paperwork, because you're obviously not on shift every single day.
Yeah. It's making sure that we've got the right information and there's no confusions, and so that everyone else is aware, not just me as a key worker, but all the staff as well, have an understanding of what's going on. Yeah.
Brilliant. There's something on the checklist here which says about discussing creative ideas around supporting my daily routines and care.
Yeah.
I think you've touched on it there with your key client around the time of the month, that maybe at certain times of the month we can provide slightly different support to help her. Have you got any other examples of when you can talk about how you've supported your key client creatively?
So my key client, she goes through phases of liking certain things. So she has different photo books. So if she's very reliant on a onesie, so she's got pictures of different things. So we sort of rotate her books around. So when she's fixated on certain things, we can switch them around. So then that's her focus then. If it's 4 days, 5 days, 2 weeks, we just switch them around for her. So then it's not overloading her. You know, seeing different things all the time. So it's clocks, it's guinea pigs, it's a various amount of different things.
So it sounds like you're really attuned to her. You let her take the lead, but you're careful not to overload, not to overstimulate her, or to get her to a point where she's bored and frustrated. So you're changing it up.
100%.
How lucky is she to have you, and you're lucky to have her as well, aren't you? What a lovely partnership you are. Thank you, Nikki.
You're all right.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.